what exactly this particular scenario is all about, what exactly the situation is, and based on that we can suggest how to like go ahead in this particular situation.
Okay.
So you can read it out loud, not an issue.
John Sloan owns a small boat engine repair business on the coast, employing 12 full-time staff. As a small business, he can find it challenging to balance his time generating sales and dealing with customer feedback. Many customers have come to him stating that they get frustrated being passed through his staff when they want something changed. This also frustrates John, as by the time they contact him, they are very disappointed and angry, which makes it harder for him to develop a relationship with them. John also misses the time when he builds better relationships with customers. John does not know what to do next. What would you suggest from what you have learned in this course? It sounds like right now he's not prioritizing customers as far as um, he's looking for growth, but he's not prioritizing his existing current base of customers.
Mhm. Okay, and what solutions like we can suggestions we can give to him, like how to approach this you can say uh, organization in which he's working,
I would say
or we can say
employee
for this platform.
employee empowerment along with a streamlined approach. So when something does get to the next line of defense, they know that they own that particular swim lane and that they can supply the feedback either back up to John direct or direct to the customer, depending on where it's coming from.
Okay, that's right, that's good. Okay, now let's understand the possible ways like how we can help John in this event. So you are absolutely right that he is not focusing much on the customer. So first thing what he can do, like he can do, is he has to establish what are the main areas which are taking time. Like in terms of he has to take customer feedback, and from there he has to understand where exactly the problem is. Now, what are his customers seeking to give feedback on? Like he has to uh, like once he understand, okay, now he has to take customer feedback, then he has to decide on what particular segments he can divide. One is the product, service, or any other, like they have different expectations or perceptions towards that particular product. Okay, so that is the another, you can say, segregation which we can suggest him, that once he start getting feedback from the customer, he has to segregate under this, and based on that he have to understand. So now, John, does John understand the opportunity in handling customers effectively? No. In this case, you have rightly identified that as of now his focus was on the product, but he has to see that how to handle customer, because he has to handle customer complaints effectively, and based on that he has to like improve his business. Okay. So does John's staff understand their role and responsibility in this process? So can you comment on this particular part?
I
Based on the,
don't
I again go back to the situation. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe that John's team is engaged in any of the complaint, maybe the process behind the scenes. Um, they're just getting bits and pieces possibly and not getting the full encompassing story. So they don't know how to respond or even if they are responsible to respond.
Correct. So they because one thing is, once the particular roles and responsibilities are something wherein the clear you can say deliverable has to be defined. Suppose there is something, a customer, if he is not getting satisfied, and they should not delay that particular process, because the longer you delay the particular process of resolving a complaint, the complainant will feel more unsatisfied. So they have to see, they have to have a clear role and responsibility that after a particular time they have to quickly reach out to John, and John has to, for the or the whatever escalation metrics. So the particular roles and responsibilities has to be defined in a such a way that customer experience or customer satisfaction has to be also tracked during that particular process of complaint resolving. Okay, I
Yep.
think from this example we first understood what exactly the problem statement is and how you can say effectively. So this is very initiation wherein you have to just understand that from the product you can say a product approach, like wherein your approach is only on the product, to move to the customer satisfaction approach, or a better customer experience approach. So in this journey, what exactly the first step you have to take? So the first step here we have discussed. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Now let's move back to the same slides. I hope my screen is visible to you.
Complete. Yeah. Back to basics.
Yeah. So now the basics are very simple. What is complaint? Complaint comes from the people. Okay. Now people is our customer. Customer are the reason why we are having that particular business. So ultimately, the business aim is to satisfy the customer. So everything starts from a particular like complaint, which is a dissatisfaction level of an individual. Now the individual is the one who is you can say driving my business, and ultimately that satisfaction level of that individual is important, and for that we have to resolve the complaint in a particular effective manner. So due to the last point, we need to need to be able to identify complaints and to rectify them in our organization. So that's why it is very important that you have to identify the complaints, and ultimately you have to you can say rectify it effectively. Okay, effectively is very important, because resolving a complaint effectively is not always the that accepting that you can say complaint. And sometimes a customer is expecting, like in your case you have given a example wherein the customer was not satisfied, and if you give a particular a product, or some, suppose if I give another example wherein a customer is expecting refund, or you can say replacement. But every time like if a complaint has came, so that doesn't mean that if you have refunded and the complaint is effectively closed. Sometimes what happened, because of the customer also, like in your case, it was because the specification was not clarifying that particular part. The requirement is not clarified from the customer side, and ultimately the product which was delivered as per, he was not expecting that, because he has not mentioned in that particular requirement. So effectiveness is something wherein you have not only you have to close it effectively, like wherein you have given a right solution to it, not the one which is favoring, and accordingly customer will definitely, if he is expecting a refund, and if you are refunding or replacing that item, the satisfaction level will go next level high. But that doesn't mean that complaint is resolved effectively. If the complaint is if the manufacturing defect was us is rightly there, then in case fine, you have replaced or repaired or refunded the amount, that is fine. But sometimes expectation is different, and your your end product is different, so that has to be managed accordingly. Okay. Now, what are the benefits of handling complaints? So we have already discussed earlier, but here if we see the main benefits, or you can say key driving factors which leads to you can say uh, very impactful impact on your business, is nothing but the benefits which you are having in terms of profitability. Okay, so sometimes what happen, your because of multiple complaints, you know that what exactly is not you can suppose your product is not getting properly sold in the market. So now because of the customer complaints, you understood what exactly were the root cause behind it, behind that, and then you have increased the you can say you have you have gone through the overall process and improved the quality, and ultimately the volume has been increased, the delivery volume has been increased to the market, and that particular same is getting converted into sales as well. So by that your profitability is increased. Maintenance of your customer base. Like suppose one customer has reached out to, and he's like again and again buying from you only. So that is something like you are satisfying his product as well as services. So by that you are maintaining that same customer for a longer duration. Then there are like by this ultimately what you are achieving a loyalty from that particular customer. Now sometimes there are certain loyal customers who has become at a certain level, they have become so loyal to the company that they will not look for like they will, even if they are getting other benefits in if they are going to other product, still they will you can say attach to your product only. So if once you achieve that loyalty, that means your complete product line, service line is way at par than your competitors. Okay. Opportunity to utilize new learning for improvement of business processes. So one of the goal which you are also here looking for, like there are certain process gaps in your organization. Now once you understand each and every complaint under the domain areas, you will understand which domain area is you can say a problem statement for you, and what exactly the problem statement in it, where the process gap is. And by that, by resolving that process gap, ultimately you are improving your organization's business processes, and ultimately you can say achieving the organization goal. Building of customer advocates for the business. Now sometimes you by satisfying, or you can say by maintaining your customers expectation, you what exactly you are doing, you are creating a customer who will defend your product in the market. In the business you need not to defend your product, or you need to just, so by your customer base itself, you will be they will be the one who will be defending your product in the market, and you have a good business you can say benefits. Okay. So anything else, like here you see, like in your organization, if you have a effective customer handling, you can say processes. Now, what exactly you are expecting that by this you will achieve this particular thing in your, because your goal should be clear. Like if you want to start a process of customer handling in a particular manner, wherein you need to have a particular you can say processes implemented. So for that you will also have to know what benefits you are giving to the organization. So what additional benefits you think you can give by giving a overall standardized process for handling complaints.
So I think it would help open up the communication lines between all levels of the organization, and it will help us understand as a business how customer feedback and miscues in production can affect the overall business, because that's not necessarily seen at all levels of the organization. So I think
So basically
establishing.
so from this, basically, I understand that your problem statement is from the organization point of view, your target is to have a effective management in the organization. One of the solution, which is even one of the you can say benefit which is not highlighted here. Here we are only focusing on the customer and the now your problem statement also talks about from the organization point of view to build that culture, to build that particular thing. Once you start solving complaints in a particular manner, ultimate goal of you is to have a effective stakeholder management, wherein each and every individual or your departments or domain area experts will have a better understanding of it, and they should have a clear flow of information. I hope I'm right over here.
Yes.
Okay, okay, now let's move to the next one. So, so this is an example, like wherein a major car distributor has the following perspective, like doing the uh, job right at the first time, plus effective complaint handling. So that delivers the maximum customer satisfaction and loyalty. So this is the general principle, like as I mentioned even earlier, also product and services. So you each and every if it is an example of a car manufacturer. It can also apply in other domain areas, any manufacturing, construction, or defense, wherever you are going in each and every industry. There is one thing is your product, then the other thing is your uh, uh, you can say services. Now here in this case, how you can give a a better service by handling their complaints. Like if they're particular in manufacturing, in a particular case there are certain issues are coming in that particular vehicle. So once that vehicle go back to the service center, whatever complaints he's having or he or she is having should get resolved effectively. So that is something wherein a customer will become satisfied, as well as by the time he will become loyal to the particular car distributor, or you can say car manufacturer. So it is very important to focus on both the part. One is first producing the right thing for the first time itself, like when you are delivering something to the customer, and After that, your after sales service, you can also say, wherein handling, you can say, complaint is uh, uh, one of the exercise in it. Okay, and that is one of the important, very important, because it covers all the other aspects also, like not only the technical one, it also covers the other aspects of the particular product. Okay.
Yep.
So it makes easy for your customer to complain, and your customer will make it easy for you to improve. So now here it is very important that you have to create an environment, you have to create a culture wherein your customer should be open to complain. It should not be like that you'll not you have a particular, like, if I give you an example wherein ease is there, like the feedback from the particular organization or from the particular manufacturer is so rigorous that he's taking feedback, and after each and every delivery or each and every service he has delivered, and in a particular frequency he's taking feedback by himself. So that is one way of working. Then there is another way wherein he has delivered the service, and if customer comes, they will accept the complaint, but the feedback, the approach in which you are going to the customer and trying to get the information, because that information is important for you as well. Not like customer is facing some issue, that is one thing, but the same thing is very important for you to improve your processes, improve your product quality. Okay, so that is why it is important that your customer should also feel like easy, like reachable. He has to it won't be difficult for them to reach out to you back and give their, like, share their feedbacks. So it is very important that you establish a system wherein your customer can come up to you with a very, you can say, easily. Okay, in your, like, let's discuss about your organization, like your customer service department is there. Now what is your mechanism to collect the complaint? Like either it is a feedback based, or sometimes it is it's like customer comes up and then you respond to it.
Um, usually, so usually I'm reacting to something that's put into the CRM system, and it could be a shipping issue with the pallets not being stamped, or pallet damage to the freight being damaged by the freight forwarder, but everything's hitting my desk regardless of the terms on the contract. So I'm trying to I'm trying to empower the customer service team not to keep me out of the loop, but if something they need to own their contract, their customer relationship, so that if it is truly FCA, that means that we as an organization are responsible, but we will do our due diligence to the packaging to make sure that it we will mitigate the risk of it happening again. But for that to come to my level to be able to answer back seems to be, I don't mind taking it in trying to flow the process through to the other departments to impact how we're packaging something. Can we make changes to benefit all the customers? But to answer back to the customer that, hey, your terms are FCA, you need to file a complaint with your carrier because the terms on the contract are this. It seems like that message isn't getting back to them until after the investigation is complete, which is a little backwards in my mind. That should be answered right away by the customer service team, and then of course we still investigate what can we do differently to satisfy in the future.
Okay, that is something I understood the scenario very well. Now here, you are absolutely right that the complaint has initiated, investigation has initiated. Ultimately, it has came to you, and once you go back and resolve, like you have given a particular solution to it. In the meantime, you have wasted so much time. At the very first level, if the customer service department was aware about, like, whether these terms and conditions are part of it or not, so that is something wherein if you are getting multiple complaints in same delivery related this type of, now you have to think how you can either filter out the complaints in the initial at the initial stage, or there is another approach wherein if it is required to have a contract terms, even you can say modification, that is something which is again a different one, and based on that, with the say with those those type of customers, you can have that particular approach. But I think here in your case, the filtering out at initial stage, at the receive end itself is very important, wherein categorization, along with that, if you have a